So if you guys are following along with the jonboat build, I had tried a little 5.5 horsepower on it and I wasn't quite getting the speeds I was looking for. So I wanted to upgrade to a 9.9. I think this is a great middle ground between power and weight. This thing only weighs, I think, 80 something pounds. Yeah, right there says 84 pounds. So it's still nice and light, but it's still gonna give us a lot more power. So for today's video, the goal is to change the oil, the gear oil, the spark plugs, and we're gonna be repairing a hose. So the first thing I'm gonna work on is changing the spark plugs. So changing the spark plugs on this 4-stroke 9.9 Mercury outboard is really simple. First thing I wanna do is take off the cover. And your spark plugs are located right here and right here. They're covered by your spark plug wires. To get to the spark plugs, you just gotta take off the wires. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove the spark plugs. So I had this top one already taken out when I first brought the motor home. They're actually in pretty good condition. It doesn't look like the motor is running poorly based on the spark plugs. If you can see here, spark plugs are looking pretty good. But we're still gonna change them just so we have a fresh tune-up on everything. The spark plugs for this engine are NGK's DCP R6E. It's also printed on the top of the engine. When I went to Advanced Auto to pick these up, they couldn't find it for some reason in their computer using the DCP code, but this 3481, they were able to look it right up. Always compare old and new to make sure you're installing the right plug. Definitely the same ones. To avoid these seizing to your motor and also to make a good electrical connection, I use dielectric grease. This is the same stuff that kind of comes in those little tiny packets when you buy spark plugs at the auto parts store. For the price of this tube, this will last you pretty much the lifetime of changing spark plugs. And you can buy it online too. I'll have a link in the description if you need it. Also a link to these spark plugs if you want to buy them online. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just apply a tiny bit of grease on the threads. Just gonna rub that in. So this is the first one. I'm just going to go ahead and hand thread this in. You don't want to cross thread this. Also with the dielectric grease, they go in really easy. So I'm going to go ahead and start tightening it now. Okay, that's good. You're really just trying to snug them in. You're not trying to over crank them here. The short wire went on the top and the long wire went on the bottom. All right. There we go. The spark plugs have now been changed. First step on our tune-up is done. All right, so Mercury actually has a process that works out pretty well to avoid getting oil down the side of the motor. First things first, we got to get the oil plug off. It actually uses the same 5/8 bit as the spark plugs, so we're already set up for it. These can be on here pretty tight. Oh, that was enough. I got it off. Okay, well, before we start taking that off, let's get our pan set up for us to catch the oil. I use this to change gear oil out. Hopefully we'll be able to get the old motor oil into here. Okay, so to trim out the motor, there's a little lever here. Make sure we hold this up. Yep. Tilt the motor to the side. And now we should be able to take this nut off and catch the oil in the pan. Something I forgot to mention that you should do is to warm up the motor before you change the oil so the oil flows out easier. Let's see how well we can catch it. Oh, okay. Oil's so cold, it just drips straight down. The oil plug has the plug and a small washer here, so make sure you don't lose the washer. When the majority of the oil has drained out, which is just a very slow flow now, you just hand tighten this back on. So now we're going to let this sit for a few minutes, let the rest of the oil in the motor drain down to the plug. Okay, so if you see on the front here, the oil capacity is 800 milliliters. The quarts come with a little bit over 800. It's actually 946. I'm going to use the difference to flush the motor with fresh oil. I'm just going to pour enough oil in till the level gets down to 800. That way I know when it's time to refill it, I just pour the rest of the bottle in. While that's all doing its thing, we're going to go ahead and get the gear oil coming out too. All right, so the thing about these screws a lot of people struggle with is that these are very wide openings, so you need a very wide tip screwdriver. With the right tip, it's a little bit easier, but these still are pretty tough to get off. Well, I ended up just leaving this draining while I tried to get these screws off. I couldn't get them off, so I picked up an impact screwdriver set. The way this works, it's got a big handle on it. You put your screwdriver bit in front of it. This loads into here, this loads into there, and then you hit it with a hammer, and then that should break it loose. So let's go ahead and try that now. All right, so using the impact to break it loose and then the actual and an electric impact to get it out, I was able to get the top nut out. Go ahead and put this back in. Now I'm gonna get the gear lube one done. Oh, yeah, it came out nice and easy now. I was able to get this one off using an impact driver. This wound up working the best. I think getting one of these bits was the best help. These are 3/8 drive bits. This was thick enough to really get a good grip on the tip of the bolt here. All right, now that we got the bottom one off, I'm gonna go ahead and do the top one, which is gonna let this flow out much easier. Now I'm gonna position this so it drains into the container. I'm gonna take the top screw out now. All right, here we go. Okay, since the gear oil is incredibly thick and it's very cold, I'm going to give this plenty of time to drain out. So I do plan to use all Mercury oils in the future, but I want to use what I have on hand first. I'm using Starbright for both the oil and the gear lube. I'm going to go ahead and hook this up to the top. So while that's draining, I'm going to go ahead and fill the oil. First thing I'm going to do is torque down the bolt. Okay, so I'm just going to use some of the fresh new oil and lubricate the washer. All right, remember, hand tighten first. Okay, now as most things, just snug it up. Now since we already got the bottle down to where we needed it to, we can pretty much just use this whole thing. So with that filled, I'm going to check it through the dipstick. Perfect. Look at that. Nice and full. Gear oil fully drained out. I'm going to go ahead and start pumping the new oil in. Okay, with the bottom adapter screwed in, we're going to start pumping until we see it come out of the top. We're watching for this top screw hole here to have oil come out. There it is. That took a lot more than I expected. So you want to pump it a couple times so the bubbles come out, and you don't want to see bubbles when you push it out. I'm just going to pump it, let it sit, let all the bubbles kind of come up. You'll see less bubbles each time. Yeah, that's good now. Okay, so with that filled, put some gear oil on this washer here because this thing was a bear to get off. We can screw in the top screw, which will hold the oil in place. When we unscrew the bottom, it won't leak as much. So now this is going to come out, and then we're going to get this new screw in as soon as we can. Snug these up as best you can. You're probably going to be covered in oil when you do it. So just to recap, spark plugs have been changed, gear oil has been changed, and oil changed. Now we are good to fire this up. Let it run for a minute, check our oil level again, and make sure everything's looking good. Okay. Good. So, final test to finish this up. Okay, we got it cleaned off. Let's put it back in. Perfect. All right, guys, well, if you found this helpful, let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more content like this, including the John boat build, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.